And it did, because long after Mubarak and long after Ben Ali switched off the internet and blocked access, still people poured to Tahrir Square and went to the Conference streets and down street and so on and so forth. I'm not suggesting it wasn't important. Every single uprising, every single revolution associated with one forms of communication or media. Go back to the French revolutions and the significance of the print newspaper. Go back to the 1989 revolutions in communist countries, and again the idea of television was important. In Iran, certainly back in 1979, the idea of the fax and Xerox and cassette tapes famously were significant and important. But the revolution would have happened without those tools. It was picked up as a hype by the media, big media. It was the CNN, the BBC, and so on, and New York Times, and the Guardian, and so on and so forth, which were keen to suggest something new is taking place. And that's something new because they didn't have people on the ground, because many of the journalists didn't really have that much of a knowledge about the specific histories of those locations. Had they started to suggest, well, this is a Twitter revolution. It became a shorthand, something which could explain everything that happened in Moldova back in 2008, in Iran in 2009, in Tunisia, and in Egypt in 2011, and in Turkey in 2013. Something which explains a fantastically wide range of movements and events and political activities all over the globe. And if you are a social scientist, you know it's impossible to have something so grand explaining every single conflict incident as such, every single uprising as such that has been happening. All of them. Was there no other explanation, no other factor, no other reason for us to remember? And in particular, if you compare the Iranian situation with that of the Arab uprising, again, there are some fantastic lessons for us to learn. Why, in the case of Tunisia and Egypt, it led to the demise and the collapse of Ben Ali and Mubarak, and not in Iran. If technologies were the most significant factor, then how can we explain the success, or we could argue to some extent success, they are still incomplete revolutions as such. How can we explain the success of the Egyptians and Tunisians and not the Iranians back in 2009? What else was there? Let me pose a question in a different way. Many people assume and suggest that it was the burning of Mohamed Bouazizi in Tunisia, which basically ignited the Tunisian uprising and revolution. Without a doubt, that was a significant factor. It was important. But then if that was the only factor, then we have to explain why the same act, or the repeat of the same act in Algeria, the same year, the same time, 3 times it happened in Algeria. Nothing happened. Why? So in a way, actually, what I'm trying to convey is actually trying to look. It's important, it's significant, but for political scientists, for social science as a whole, I think it's important to remember that there are always much broader issues in play. You know, where? Finish here. That leaves us. Is that okay? Yes? Okay. If anybody wants to have a question or